Another interesting, and I'm horribly sorry to use the word interesting, another interesting word, not in any form of interest, was suicides amongst students and youngsters. Very recently in our community, I heard that an 11th standard student attempted a suicide. It was not successful though, fortunately. But what leads to such situations? I think I'll refer to the first point again. The families within, many a times, mostly unintentionally, are challenging the basic dignity of the person so much on so many occasions. I've seen this happen in parties, get togethers. Kids are asked publicly about their scores so that they realize somehow that they are not performing well enough. Do we endorse that form of realization? Because I'm strictly against it. I think it's going to be highly counterproductive on all occasions. The kid is not going to focus on what you're talking, he's going to be focused on protecting and rescuing himself from that situation. That is going to be the prime record that's going to play on his head throughout the length of the conversation. So is it productive? It is not productive for anybody. It could at best take the person to a point where he takes to bad habits or finishing of his life, because it's about escaping from that agony called you. It is not about building his life. And in a lot of capacities, as we grow old, we unknowingly, I would say, no human being, I think, no sane individual would want to do something bad to someone deliberately. But on a variety of occasions, unintentionally, I've seen bosses, for instance, at work, try to bully their subordinates, and spike up their performance somehow by challenging their ability constantly. Does that work? Is that a model that is successful? Personally, I condemn it, because it not only locks the person in a cocoon, he goes back to his deepest available socket of shell. He would not want to discuss his challenges with you ever again. He does not trust you anymore, be it a he or she. That's immaterial in this context. So the important part is focusing on the scientific goal. Your goal is productivity. So let's talk positive. It all begins there. When you have a positive conversation, the person gets a chance to strike his ideas across the table. And then, through the course of the conversation, you can very politely put forth your expectations. I think that is why we are considered sophisticated as leaders and bosses. A leader, in my view, is not somebody who sits on a perch and enjoys the view to the larger distance. It is someone who enlightens people, even standing behind them. It's somebody who does not really take pleasure in achieving something personally as much as for everybody. That, I think, is a true leader, and I've always believed that true leaders are born. They cannot be made by someone. If someone ever promises you or claims that he built a leader, I'm going to be just one of the people who will thoroughly disagree with him, if not in the face of it, because the intention is not to hurt somebody's zone of confidence. The intention is to promote the right practice. And that practice lies in the fact that leaders are born. These are genuinely enlightened people who have far-sighted approach. They could see things like nobody does. It's just like you speak of singers, dancers, famous writers. poets, you know. I hope of so if you talk of my personal preference, I would definitely support evolution of mechanisms to deal with education than accreditation. It doesn't really matter who gets certified in what. Your certificates could well stay logged in a cupboard at home, and you go about in the world doing whatever comes to your mind randomly. And I've seen a lot of people do that. In the face of it, they are doctors, they are lawyers, they are scientists, they are great professionals. But when they get into a daily conversation, they don't even practice basic elements of courtesy or politeness or allowance of privacy to people. I think the most refined person would usually deal with care when it comes to someone younger to his age, or someone less fortunate, or someone poorer, someone weaker. That is the actual demonstration of the knowledge acquired. Everything else is mere paperwork, and that paperwork can stay elsewhere as you spread the madness on the globe. That is what I fear, and I'm trying to limit. I hope we achieved something in the entirety of this video. If it proves beneficial, I'd be glad to type in more bytes to you and post them on this link. In the interim, do not stop from writing to me. It is exceptionally engaging to hear so many questions from so many followers on blogs and in the form of Facebook messages. I really enjoy talking to you folks. If it's only people like us who form majority section of society who can bring in some positive change. If it is too late for us, then for the generations to follow. I think life matters beyond one being. So the concept of life is spread across all these people that we see around us. Right from the guy who serves us tea, to the guy who works at the airport, to the cop. Everybody needs to stay happy. It's one life. So thank you so much. Take care.